So today in RTA we head up to Scotland to Knockhill, a track I haven't driven at before, but after a bit of practice, one that I found to be very fun to drive around. If you missed the last video in Oulton Park, make sure you check that one out now before we get into the standings after that. And it wasn't the greatest round for myself around a very wet Oulton Park, but did manage to move up the standings a couple of places into 14th, 82 points, and luckily no penalties. So have a clean slate now heading into this one. But at the top of the standings, Dylan McClemmons still leads the way over Conor Melia, and then Sean McClemmons rounding out the top three. Down around myself, definitely can make up a couple of more spots, still aiming for a top 10 come the end of the season. But we still have a good few races to go before we get to the end, so let's head into qualifying for round 6. So in qualifying here now, we're actually going to go straight on to my fastest lap of the session, which did happen very close to the start, which isn't great, but at least I did get a good lap in here, unlike in Oulton Park where I started pretty much last, not getting a proper lap. Into turn 1, right-hander, lifting off, understeering a bit as we then flick it left into turn 2 and then turn 3. A tricky corner there, you want to hit the apex, use as much track as you can on the exit, because then you're flat out, up over the chicane, taking a flat out, really abusing those curves there to take the straightest line and carry as much speed as you can. Out on the curb on the entry into turn 6 to widen the line as much as you can, carry as much speed, and once again using all the curb on the exit to get another good run along this longest flat out section of the track. Heading into the final corner then, turn 8 to chicane, braking late, keeping it in third gear, which I found strange, but it does mean that you don't have to upshift on the exit, so you carry a bit more momentum as we come up to cross the line. And set at 58.7, so not a great lap there unfortunately, but we did go for more laps obviously. And into the final corner here, Peter McCann up ahead preparing his lap, just kind of cut in there a bit, distracting me a small bit, so not the greatest end to my lap there. And now you see a couple of clips, just my connection didn't seem the best, a lot of flashing from other cars, and can hear that from the crew chief, so I decided to just do a restart of my PC, which did lose me a bit of time in the session, but did get back in, going for another lap there. Couldn't turn 1 a bit too much, it was already invalid, but then going off the track and then going off once again in turn 3 at the final corner, just trying to carry too much speed there, which on what was my last lap of the session, so weren't able to improve off the first lap that you saw, and we did finish qualifying in P12. I definitely had a lot more pace. Just looking at my practice times, I could have been up in the top 8 at least, probably got 7th place at best, but starting down in P12. Have to see what happens here in race 1. So as the red lights come on here for race 1, hoping to try and get a better start than I did in a lot of races in Oulton Park. As the lights go green, we do get a pretty good start, getting a bit of a run on Sean McGoldrick there on the right hand side, but into turn 1 he is the inside line. I try and go around the outside all over the curve there trying to hold it, but Sean manages to get that one back. Into turn 3, bit of a check up there, had to really avoid running into the back of Sean. That allows Rory O'Shea to get past, and now heading up the hill, just slotting back into single file. Even if I was alongside there, up through that chicane isn't really somewhere you want to be going side by side, because at least one person isn't going to make it out alive, so best to just stay single file through there. Heading into the final corner then for the first time, expecting a bit of a check up there, concertina effects, so taking it nice and easy, just staying behind Rory, trying to get a good exit, which don't really get, but still pretty close, and going to get a nice slipstream down to turn 1. Slipstream very important around here, which you will see throughout these races. On to lap 2 then, through turn 6, not getting the best run there, having a big snap, had to try and save it. and then just a lap later, lap 3 into the final corner, Rory going for a move down the inside on Dave Collier. I tried to follow him with a bit of a switchback, wasn't able to make it work just yet unfortunately, but Dave challenging back on Rory into turn 1, and with the inside line he managed to get that position once again. So just shows that around here you can go for a move into the final corner, but puts you in a vulnerable position heading down the pitch straight and into turn 1. Speaking of vulnerable positions, at the exit of turn 6 again having a big moment, and luckily managed to save it and stay pointed in the right direction. Then we skip ahead onto lap 5. Big group of cars up ahead, so a lot of fighting, everybody's able to stay nice and close, and just ahead of us I think Peter was going to re-overtake Dave there. I'm not 100% sure, but unfortunately wasn't able to take advantage of it. But we are able to take advantage of that. A big incident in turn 2. I think 2 or 3 cars off into the grass. Dave Collier off into the gravel to get past him. Peter McCann was some way involved in that incident too, so he managed to get past him. So I think that's 4 places we're after making up there in the space of 2 or 3 corners, and now find myself up in 9th place. Behind Diarmuid Toomey, had a good run into the final corner, so decided to have a dive down the inside. But like I mentioned, going for a move there does leave you vulnerable, and Diarmuid managed to get a much better exit and just power past before we're even a quarter way down the straight into turn 1. In the mirror behind, Peter getting really close, and I decided not to defend it because I just felt like Peter is one of the smarter drivers in RTA, and he wouldn't go for a big send down the inside there, and luckily for me he didn't. He decided to just stick behind for now, but I'm sure he's going to go for a move sooner or later. Staying on board here now into turn 6, we really close up to Diarmuid through there, carrying a lot more speed, and now we're really close, definitely well within the slipstream heading into the final corner. Learning from my mistake from last lap, deciding not to go for the inside and try and carry more speed around the outside line, but just going a bit too wide there. Diarmuid carrying a lot more speed than I did on the previous lap, probably because he ran all the way out to the apex, which I didn't. So if I was alongside, I think I might have ended up in the gravel there, but managed to get a good run then side by side into turn 1, on board with Peter McCann just behind. You can see his view of that, and into turn 1 just slotting in ahead. Did go a bit wide, Diarmuid kind of followed me, and that did allow Peter to get alongside him and ahead into turn 3. So up another place now, and once again on the back of Rory O'Shea, who's caught up to Ryan Coon. Up over the chicane, Rory doesn't get a great run, so I decide to have a go down the inside of turn 6, which turns out isn't the best place to try and go for a move. As you can see in the mirror now, Peter getting a much better run than I did there, having to take less speed, and he's on the inside heading into the final corner. I tried to brake late, but almost ran into the back of Rory there, so had to go wide, and that allows Peter to get on through. But heading on to the final lap then, still behind Peter and Rory, and I knew I was too far back to try and go for a move, so the only chance of getting a couple of places now was if these two start to fight, which they do. Peter going around the outside, Rory locks up, they both go wide, the inside opens up for me. I tried to go for a switchback, it didn't work out, and then I don't know what Dave Collier was at there, just driving straight into me. But looking at a replay of that here now, you can see Rory just locks up, goes a bit wide. You can see in his mirror there, I'm going around down the inside, trying to get a switchback, and at this point I've had this move done. I was getting past the two of them. You can see Rory, he has a bit of space on the left hand side, he could have opened up a bit, but our lines just come together, we touch wheels, and I get spun around, and luckily with a broken wheel was able to come across the line. Finished that one in P11. Should have been P7, just ahead of Peter, but it is what it is. Looking back at the replays, I do think it was just a racing incident, just one of those times where the lines come together at the apex, and unfortunately I came out the worst of that. But still a very good race, could have been a lot better in terms of result, but starting from P11 in race 2, hopefully we can have similar pace and hopefully make up a couple of more positions.
Okay, standing start.
So this time from the right hand side of the grid, the red lights go off, the green lights go on, and we get a really good start compared to Dave Collier. Well ahead before we get even close to turn 1, and we're able to take the racing line behind Rory O'Shea. Hopefully we can try and follow him through again like we did in race 1, or get ahead of him and he can try and follow me through. Either way, hopefully we can make up a couple of places. Nice and tidy so far on this opening lap. Rory almost looking to have a little look there on Derby Toomey, but obviously not going to make a move through there. Heading into turn 6, up ahead Conor Mealy is gone off. I pretty much follow him there, unfortunately, off into the gravel, trying to take it nice and easy, rejoin the track safely. But after losing a lot of places there, just unfortunate the way it happened. I had a bit of a snap of oversteer and had to go off the track just to avoid running into Conor Mealy's car broadside on the exit apex. So unfortunate there. What looked like it was going to be a really good start ended up with me finishing lap 1 down in 17th place. Up ahead though there is a lot of fighting, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. Jamal there going for a spin, I think taking a couple of cars with him. I think we've got 3 places there, and then we get another place. Travis going off the track and recovering, so recovering pretty quickly and pretty nicely here already. Up ahead then we're after getting a bit of a run on David Prunty, but not really close enough to try and have a move into the final corner, so just going to try and focus on getting a good exit onto the pit straight, which do get a pretty good run, but David got a good run himself and had a bit of a slipstream there on Kevin Joyce. 2 of them going side by side then, and I backed out and didn't want to make it 3 wide, and I didn't really have anywhere to go. I lined my car up to maybe follow Kevin through if David went a bit wide, but he slots back in nicely and keeps that position. But looking at our replay here now, you can see into turn 6. At this point, you can see I'm turning left into a right-hander, which isn't what you want to do. And yeah, just had a snap of oversteer. So instead of going this way along the racing line and going to the right-hand side of Conor, I had to go this way and go around the outside on the gravel, which obviously isn't ideal, but at least I survived and was able to keep going in this race. Still on lap 3 here now, still behind David Prunty and Kevin Joyce, and through turn 6 stay nice and close, get a good run, but David gets a good run, is putting a move on Kevin as well, so a little bit boxed in there. I was going to try and follow David through, but decided to try and just focus on getting a good exit and getting past Kevin that way. So going for a bit of a switchback on him there. We get a good run on David, but Kevin gets a better run on the 2 of us, and now we are 3 wide heading down the pit straight. 3 wide into turn 1 isn't something I was too interested in, so being the one on the inside, I decided to back out of that one and live to fight another day, which I do. And now heading into the final turn, still not really fully alongside David, and now we're definitely more than alongside David. We pretty much mounted him there. Going to look at replay here. At this point I wasn't going to try and go for a move, I was just showing my nose and maybe trying to distract David. So I was braking early, I broke right now, and my usual braking point was at the start of the curb up ahead, so I was going to try and pull in behind David then, but as you can see, just got it completely wrong and pretty much wrecked both of our races there, which isn't great. 100% on me for that one. Luckily David didn't report it, so I didn't get a penalty for that, which definitely would have if he had reported it. So got away with one there, thankfully, and yeah, just have to try and move on with the rest of my race there. Had a bit of a fight there with Jamal, managed to get the better of him, and as we come across the line we finish race 2 in P16, which isn't the best considering I started up in P11, but after the incidents that I had, suppose lucky to even finish in the first place. I did feel like I had some top end speed damage after that incident, so made the fight with Jamal for the rest of the race a bit trickier, but thankfully managed to get the better of him on that one. So after what could have been a great result in race 1, then it seems to have affected my race 2, and hopefully in the final race we can make amends for it all and get a good result here in Knockhill. So for the final time and from the furthest back I have so far in this round, the lights go green and once again getting a really good start. So 3 from 3 on good starts here this evening. Managed to pull ahead of Dave Collier. Wasn't able to get alongside Ross there, he just covered the racing line nicely, so wasn't able to get a run on him. And heading into turn 3, I saw Dave was maybe having a look a bit wide, so decided to cover the inside line there and hold a position. Peter McCann, I think he must have had some sort of incident in that previous race as well. Must have been why he ended up behind me at the start here, but him getting past Dave as well isn't something I really wanted to see, because Peter is definitely one of the faster ones in RTA, so hopefully try and get a couple of cars in between me and him fairly sharpish. Into the final corner, I could have went for a move on Ross, but I'd seen from experience through the previous 2 races going up the inside doesn't always work, so set up to get a good exit, which I have, and we managed to get ahead before we head into the turn 1. I then decided to take the racing line, try and give Ross some slipstream so he could stay ahead of Peter, but that didn't work out and Peter gets past as well, so still have him to contend with in my rear view mirror. In turn 3 then, back behind David Prunty. Hopefully don't take him out this time, as don't get the greatest run there heading into the chicane. Connor having another issue in this race off the track there on the exit of the chicane, so another place got it. Through turn 6 we get a much better run than David, but we have to check up to not run into the back of him. Peter then has to do the same to not run into the back of me, I'm pretty sure, and he is having a look there, thought he was going to dive it down the inside, but again Peter, a smart racer, and he knows it's probably not the best place to try and get a move done as well. Trying to focus on getting a good exit like I did. I think Peter got a better one, but we have the slipstream from David Prunty and heading into turn 1. We just have a bit of an overlap and now we're fully alongside, and with the inside line we decide to commit to it, leaving enough space on the exit. David runs a bit wide and once again I make a move and Peter gets past straight away as well. On lap 3 then, in the final corner, I make a bit of a mess of it, locked up a bit, went a bit wide, and Peter is able to get a good switch back then and heading along the pit straight. He's already pulled ahead, and with the inside line I pretty much have to back out of it, give Peter the place and try and follow him through, catch up to the cars ahead, and hopefully the 2 of us can make up a few more positions and get into the good point scoring places where I feel like we both probably belong in these cars. But on lap 5 my attempt at that comes to a pretty abrupt end, just getting a bit of a slide in turn 3. Almost saved it, but then overcorrected and ended up spinning off into the grass. So a bit of a recovery race then, skipping ahead to lap 9, not really too much happened. Caught back up to Niall Leahy, who I think he pretty much just let me pass there. He seems to not be having a great race himself. And then we catch up to Emma Dempsey, who goes off the track, and it doesn't look like it, but I nearly followed Emma off the track there, just being a bit distracted by her. And then just a bit later Ross Wheatley going off the track as well, and we get past him. But that was it then for race 3, really a pretty uneventful one after that mistake that I made, and you can just see frustrated with that as finish in P15, which isn't great, especially you see Peter there in P9, Dave in P10. We were with the two of those before I made that mistake. So could have got P9, probably P10 at worst in this race, but instead down in 15th place. And what these results mean for the championship standings is that I actually moved down in the standings down to 15th. Emma and Kevin overtaking me there, as does Brandon McCotton. So not the best race, especially considering I thought I was pretty okay pace wise around here. Just few too many mistakes, as seems to be a common theme recently, so something I need to iron out, especially before the next season in the Formula V cars. But it is what it is, and heading into Cadwell Park next round, one that I haven't driven as well, and one I'm definitely not looking forward to. Hopefully we can turn my form around heading into the final couple of races of the season. But that's it for this video. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this Formula V season. But until the next one, thanks for watching and see you then.